right. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second Q&A session that we're having with Joe Tippins on his blog. We've gotten a whole bunch of different questions that we're going to try to answer here. You can also call into the studio, and we will take people's calls and try to answer them. We do have a request that if you do have a testimony about the products that we really can't host testimonials live because it could get us in trouble with the FDA. We would ask that you post your testimonials on the Facebook page where it's an appropriate way for people. Way for people to hear about the benefits of the products and how well they're working. But we're looking forward to answering questions and seeing what we can do to help people, not only with Joe's recommendations on fenbendazole, but specifically Josh and I are here to answer any questions about the pathways 1, 2, and 3. We have some exciting news, Joe, right? We just opened our European portal. So our distributors in Germany, a group called Weber Medical, they manufacture laser equipment that's used in the treatment of cancer and inflammatory diseases. They are also a distributor for Ultra Botanica products, and there is now a link on our Pathway 1, 2, and 3 page where you can directly connect to a portal to purchase Pathways 1, 2, and 3 in the EU. And so if you purchase it in the EU, it will be shipped to you from the EU, saving a whole bunch of money on shipping.
And trouble.
No import duties, obviously. They've already covered all of the import duties coming into Germany. And hopefully this will be a great resource for people going forward. The phone number to call, if you want to call and ask your questions, is 405-694-4729. Joe, any comments before we start?
No, I'll just say this. I repeat it over and over again. I'm not a doctor and I'm not a scientist. I'm really only qualified to tell the story that I have to tell, and then the follow-up stories that we've coming in by the hundreds. And some of these questions are that have been posted to the to the Facebook group are highly technical, and I'm going to be hedging with some of those questions because I simply am not qualified. It's over my pay grade to answer some of them. And so with that caveat, let's get started looking through these questions and fielding online calls.
Yep, let's do it. So Joe, where would you like to start? We have a whole bunch.
I'll just go through a few of these. So there's quite a few questions about hormone-positive breast cancers and hormone-negative breast cancers. And one of the unfortunate things about this experience is getting comments back, anecdotal, by the dozens and hundreds, without knowing what the denominator is. So, you know, in true clinical trials, you know everything, positive, negative, control, everything. We have anecdotal information coming in by the thousands, and we don't know what the denominator is. So and that's why we've been auditing success cases with the universities, which is, I know that's a kind of a cop-out, but the very first question, any success for triple-negative breast cancer? And I will say this, unfortunately, that's the one cancer and the only cancer that I don't think we have any success stories for, is triple-negative. There's a bunch of follow-up questions about estrogen-driven, progesterone-driven, HER2-driven. We do have anecdotal success stories on all three of the other hormone-positive breast cancers. That's pretty much all I know because I don't know where it's been successful or not. There was one question that said there was controversy, and I don't know where this is coming from or whether it's credible, that hormone-positive breast cancers, that Fenben will cause it to grow and make recurrences. I don't believe that's true. But if it is, somebody needs to prove to me that that's true. I I there's a lot of people on the internet that just go out and espouse statements as fact when there's really no way to know whether they're fact or not. We do have hormone positive breast cancer success stories, though. Now, if there's others that are not successful, one of the questions throughout all of these is, can you tell me why it works for some people and why it doesn't for others? Well, my real simple answer is no. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor. We know there's hundreds of success stories. We also know that there's failures and where it's not successful, but we don't know why because we haven't run a full clinical trial and research program on that. So if that sounds like a cop-out, I'm sorry, but it's just we don't have all the information here. So next question is your protocol specifically using Fin-Ben effective post-chemo and radiation or only while undergoing treatment? That's really good question. I believe that people that have active cancer should take this protocol concurrently with and parallel to anything and everything that traditional oncologists want to throw at it. Parallel and concurrently with. Post-remission or NED, there was another question that asked, what is the dosage and protocol for that? Well, look, I think that really depends on how long you've been in remission. I just hit the 5-year mark, and I'm going to do 3 days a week instead of 7 days a week. But if I was only 6 months NED or 12 months NED, I'd probably still be doing 7 days a week at the higher dosages. There's another question. Is there another bendazole drug we should be using instead of Fin-Ben? I personally believe Fin-Ben is the best one of all of the 7 anthelmintics. Although some people choose to pulse between Fin-Ben and Me-Ben, Me-Ben requires a prescription and probably a compounding pharmacist to make, but you can get it if you work hard enough at it. I believe Fin-Ben is the best choice, but other people in Mexico and Central and South America use Alben and some of the others. I think they all have positive effects. I just personally believe Fin-Ben is the best.
We had one of the researchers we're working with, Doris Benbrook. She is who's doing some research with us. She actually did a mebendazole study and corroborated a lot of the fenbendazole work that was done. So,
well,
but
look,
you have evidence that the fenbendazole works better than
the
other ones.
And I have scientists, PhD scientists that believe that as well.
Hey, gentlemen, I believe we have Richard on the line.
Okay, go,
Richard,
go.
are you there? Are you still there, Richard? Well, he was there a moment ago. I beg your pardon.
All right. Well, we'll
go
come
to
back
the
to
next.
Richard.
We'll go to the next question from Erica Loya. My husband currently has teratoma. Has there been any positive results? I've never heard of teratoma, so I don't believe we have any positive results yet from it, and I don't even know what it is. I'm sorry. Is fenbendazole known to be hard on the liver or kidneys? This is a long-standing question over the 5-year journey. When I first started this 5 years ago, I recommended 3 days on, 3 days off at 222 milligrams. I did that because I had been told that it could affect the liver. Later, I realized that there is actually toxicity trials out there that have been performed, and they determined that 500 milligrams a day long-term is safe. So at 222 milligrams, I don't believe it can affect the liver. However, if somebody's liver enzyme spike, they should adjust their dosage back. But there's other dosage questions throughout here that what about higher dosages? We have tons of people that are experimenting without, I don't know why they're doing it or how they're doing it, but they're experimenting with higher dosages. A lot of people are doubling the dosage to 444 milligrams.
I've heard of people even going higher. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. I wouldn't recommend doing that unless you are regularly taking blood tests to check your liver enzymes. But we do know that under 500 milligrams a day, long term, is safe. And somebody on prostate says they've heard where rising PSA levels can be normal after Fenbin, and that's not my experience. Again, this could go in the category of why is it not working for some versus others, but we have a lot of experience with prostate where it massively lowers the PSA. In fact, just last weekend at a country club, a man came up to me and comped my green fee because he said I saved his life. He told me his PSA went from over 1,000 to under 1.
Oh, wow.
Which is just crazy.
Rick, do we have a call?
Yes, we do. I believe you're on the air now.
Hey, you're on the
This is Richard.
Hey, Richard, what's your question?
I've been experiencing prostate cancer. I'm in my 23rd year. I've tried allopathic medicine along with alternative treatments of one sort and then another for all the 23 years. And I started your program, Joe, about 4 years ago. Recently, my PSA has been going up, and in trying to find some solution or treatment protocol, I was referred to an herbal plant medicine based person who said to me that in her training, she got exposure to some NIH research people that told her that synthetically made products, including fenbendazole, are made to fit into receptor cells to then transmit their beneficial properties inside of cells, but that they warned her that their research had shown that synthetically made products, including fenbendazole, are very rigid, and they basically won't bend with the receptor cells movement, and eventually they break off the receptor cells, and that on an extended time period, any synthetic thing will cause damage to the receptor cells, whereas plant-based medicine's got more flexibility, and that's what she was advocating.
Let me respond to that. That is absolutely 180 degrees different from the 3 PhD scientists who have determined the 3 pathways by which fenbendazole are working. It has nothing about trying to enter the cell. It is about breaking down the microtubules at the cell wall. It is about stopping the cancer's ability to metabolize sugar, and it is about production of new healthy P53 cancer-killing genes. So, and by the way, I think prostate is one of our most successful categories of, at least anecdotally, reported into us regularly.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole discussion about, so there are some, I think that the general discussion about the difference between natural products and synthetic compounds is in general, synthetic molecular pharmaceutical products tend to be very rigid in terms of how they access receptor sites, but we're talking about the exception rather than the rule. In terms of fenbendazole and how it interacts with the body, the flexibility of the molecule really has nothing to do with its efficacy or its ability to actually influence outcomes for people.
Next question is, can Fenbin be taken on the day of chemo?
Hang on, Joe. Before you go on to the next question, we have another caller on the line.
Okay.
All right, go for it.
All right. Hello, caller. Are you still there?
Hi, yes, this is Kayla.
Hey, Kayla. Thanks for calling.
Hi, Joe. I am a former liver transplant critical care trauma nurse, stage 3C ovarian cancer. Started your protocol about a month ago. Do you have any medical data on the efficacy of the fenbendazole?
For ovarian? Yeah,
Ovarian.
Let me tell you, I'll try to give you the Reader's Digest version. Because of my story, researchers at both Stanford and the University of Oklahoma who are specifically in the ovarian cancer area, that's what they specialize in. They both have unexplained miraculous recoveries have come in. And they found out that they were on the quote-unquote Joe Tippins protocol, and that's why they joined the effort to start auditing success cases. Separately, a lot of these universities do their clinical trial research and raw research on mebendazole because it's already FDA approved. And so these universities have now done published papers on the success of mebendazole for ovarian cancer.
Okay.
And you can find those studies on pubmed.gov. It's pubmed.gov. And you can look up mebendazole and type in ovarian cancer in the search bar, and those studies will come up.
Well, and one of the questions that we're facing here is, again, with hormone-positive breast cancer, there's all kinds of misinformation out there about that we're making things worse. And rule number one of medicine is don't make it worse. And they asked, is mebendazole or albendazole better? If there's a problem with fenbendazole, there's going to be a problem with mebendazole. And in those cases, the clinical trials at Johns Hopkins were on mebendazole, but that's only because it's already FDA approved.
And we have another caller.
All right.
If you're ready.
Yep, go for it.
All right. All right, caller, you're on the air.
Hello?
My name is Paul, and my question is about the suitability of using the protocol prophylactically, particularly in the cases of men who have high PSAs and have equivocal findings from imaging. So they may have lesions, they may or may not have been biopsied, but they're usually in something they would call active surveillance. And I guess it would be, again, my question would be about potentially using the protocol in that state to help with their situation.
I would answer that this way. If it's no evidence of cancer or even history of cancer, I would recommend this as a prophylactic anyway, but only at 3 days a week. If you're in what you just described as a active watch and wait and keep a close eye because there's concern, I would be on this 7 days a week.
Including the supplements, Joe? Or
Including the supplements.
yeah.
So one of the, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Please.
No, that's the extent of my answer.
Yeah, and we're actually developing a supplement protocol for people that are in remission, especially for the Pathway 1. It's called Maintenance. It will be actually available on our website in the next week or two. It's a lower dose of the Pathway 1, a lot less expensive than the full dose of Pathway 1. It's essentially 1/4 of the dose of what the Pathway 1 is right now. So a single dose of Pathway 1 gives you about 250 milligrams of cannabinoids. So this would be a dose of closer to 50 milligrams of cannabinoids per serving, which is a lot less expensive and a lot easier to tolerate. And prophylactically for people that are dealing with the risk of these conditions, it will be a lot more supportive for people. All right.
Okay.
What's the next question up here? Thanks for calling, by the way.
Next question says, our dad has undifferentiated pleomorphic sarcoma, stage 4. What about the protocol implications of doing so? Should we be transitioning from daily use to 3 days on and 4 days off? No, again, any active cancer, I recommend staying on 7 days a week indefinitely, both the fenbendazole and all 3 supplements. Only go back to 3 days a week if you have liver enzyme spikage or you're in remission.
Okay.
The next one says, I have a hard time.
Gentlemen, we have a caller.
Yep, go for it.
Caller, you're on the air.
Yes, hello, good morning. Mr. Tippins, thank you for taking my call. I had a question in regards to my mother. She has stomach cancer, and it's in the lymphs of the stomach as well. And she's now down to 119 pounds. And I was wondering if you had any suggestions how to keep the weight on, and if you thought that maybe the Panacea would help with that. She's not on anything right now, other than I've been giving her some Essiac tea and some RSO oil,
Well,
and yeah.
no, I recommend she get on the protocol 7 days a week, and I think it's diet independent. It's not going to hurt her weight or help her weight. I don't believe. She needs to figure out other ways to put weight on. And by the way, I'm 5'10" and big boned, and I got down to 105. So
Wow.
I know what she feels like.
Yeah, I saw that in your blog. Yeah, no, that's. I'm just. I was giving her the Thermicin, or curcumin for a while, but what was happening is she was getting. She has gallstones, and so we ended up in emergency, and they were thinking, well, that every time you do that, something that was a backup of your bile. So I took her off that, but.
She probably would
how
do
would
better
they-
between on the pathway to curcumin than the Theracurmin curcumin in terms of gallstones and any kind of stomach upset. The nanoparticle formulation in Theracurmin is known to cause irritation in the stomach and in the small intestine. So we haven't had any reports of irritation in the stomach from the Pathway 2 product.
Correct.
And if you, we also have a money back guarantee. So if you do try it and it does end up she doesn't tolerate it well, we'll gladly refund her money or her money or your money, however it works.
Sure.
Next question says,
Actually, gentlemen, we have another caller.
Thank you for
So,
calling, by the way.
Caller, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. I do appreciate that.
Yep.
My question is, what types of food does Joe stay away from? I was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer back in May
Stand
of
by and I'll be on
21,
the air in a moment.
and I was told by a doctor, a urologist, that sugar is not a factor, and my neighbor had cancer, and he said stay away from sugar. So I haven't taken sugar. I don't use red meat. I stay away from processed foods.
well, then you're on the right track. And I will tell people all the time that I don't practice what I preach. I believe you should stay away from sugar and anything that converts to sugar. But I pretty much eat what I want now that I've been in remission for 5 years. And I probably shouldn't.
Yeah, I was totally shocked when the doctor called me October 26th. I'll never forget it. He called me and said, we can't find any cancer in your
Oh,
body
wow.
whatsoever. And my PSA level was out of the ballpark, and he said, your PSA level is below 0. We can't find any cancer. We did a CAT scan. We did blood work. We did urine work, and we can't find cancer in you. So how did you do it? And I said, well, my wife is the one that did that. She's the one that did the research, and I take a regimen of vitamins, which I believe personally that has helped me.
Well, cool.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for calling.
Next question says, does
Actually, we have another caller on the line.
maybe we should alternate some of these, or
Yeah,
these are never going to get
I
answered.
was
Yeah,
going to
let's-
say, let's put
let's,
some on
let-
hold.
All right.
Let's hold on 1 second. Let's answer one of these written questions.
I think
stand
if
by.
you don't start alternating, these posted questions will never get answered.
Let's go for it, Joe.
Does Finbin work on head and neck cancer? And that's one of the easy ones. It's probably another really successful core. In fact, if you go out to the Positive Progress section of the Facebook page, you'll see several people with real success there. Is it okay to take antioxidants such as vitamin C when taking fenbendazole? I can't see any reason why not.
In fact, the curcumin is a very powerful antioxidant in and of itself, and vitamin C infusions are what Jane recommends as part of her protocol. Let's do one more question here and then take the caller.
What are your thoughts about incorporating ivermectin into your protocol? Well, I personally believe ivermectin may be great for COVID, but I don't believe there's much evidence out there that it's great for cancer, and so I don't know any reason why I'd want to include it. I don't think there's any harm in including it if you want to include it.
Yep. All right. Let's go to a call.
Caller, are you still there?
Yes, sir, I am.
What's your question?
Hey, I did post a comment on the YouTube thing, and I don't know if you've answered it before you put me on the air here or not, but A question revolves around how much Fenben I can take for a low-grade prostate cancer. Diagnosed 30 months ago with a Gleason 7 in 1 out of 29 biopsy samples, and I started the Fenben for 12 months at the rate of 220 milligrams times 3 days a week, and no liver stress was determined in the metabolic blood work. So then a year ago, I bumped it up to 300 milligrams for 6 days a week, and my PSA has come down from 7 down to 4.4 and won't go any lower. So I'm just thinking maybe I should bump this up a little higher until blood work says it's too much.
Right. Well,
your
that's
thoughts?
we
limit?
we mentioned that just a little earlier. A lot of people are experiencing with higher dosages, and I encourage people to do that as long as they're able to get regular blood work.
Yeah.
Okay. How high would you go before you start the blood numbers change?
I wouldn't go over 500 milligrams a day, 7 days a week, personally. But we have people out there that are doing more than that.
Very good.
All right.
Thank you for that info.
Thank you for
Appreciate
calling.
the,
All right, let's go to a couple more questions in here, Joe.
Extensive small cell lung cancer, 4 rounds of chemo, immunotherapy, along with protocol. Doctors want to do biopsy for trial drug. Chances of approval for the drug is 30%. Your thoughts? Well, that's exactly what I had. Stage 4, widely metastasized small cell, and I'm here 5 years later. So my thoughts are, again, do everything concurrently with and parallel to anything and everything that traditional oncologists want to throw at it.
You were also on an experimental drug at the time.
Yeah, but it's, I have proof, and my doctors at MD Anderson agree that the experimental drug had no part of my success.
Right.
I was in that clinical trial, I was the sole data outlier.
You were the outlier.
I was the only survivor.
Wow. All right. Let's do another question on here.
Is the dosage 222 a day the same versus a person with 260 pounds? You know, I've kind of believed all along that it's really weight independent, and because it's really going through to the cellular level of cancer. But if somebody's 260 pounds, taking it up to 444 a day, I don't think is going to be harmful, and it might help.
Okay. Rick, do we have a phone call?
Yes, we do. Caller, I think you're on the air now.
Hi, my name's Melanie, and I have breast cancer that is PR positive. Hello?
Yep, we're here. Yep, we're listening.
Okay. But that's PR positive, and it's 2 types of cancer. I have invasive ductal as well as invasive lobular, and they're telling me that it has a Ki-67 of over 25%, which means it's aggressive. And the lobular is very sneaky. It has a high rate of recurrence. But when I'm confused when I go to the research on your site, it seems like sometimes it's effective for some types of breast cancers, but not other types.
Yeah.
Would the fenbendazole work for me? Right now I'm disease-free,
You're disease-free.
and I don't want it coming back.
Well, then you should be taking this as a protocol, as a preventative.
Okay.
Again, a lot of these questions are way over my pay grade in my brain because I'm not a scientist and I'm not a doctor. We do have success stories with hormone-positive breast cancers, and
Okay.
we do not have any success stories with hormone-negative breast cancers. And what does that mean? I don't really know.
But it does work for the hormone positive.
We have
So this is where I was getting confused.
Well, we do have success stories. I don't know that it's going to work for everybody. I think the whole breast cancer area is, I would say, is still a question for me, because we don't know why we have success stories come in with some women and we don't with others. And I think the only way we'd really find out is to do a real research project around that subject matter.
Okay. So what dosage do you recommend? Do I do the 3-day protocol?
Yeah, if you're disease free, I'd do 3 days on and 4 days off. But you know, you might consider taking these Onco 1, 2, and 3 7 days a week. don't think there's any harm in that.
No,
what
no,
are the
not at all.
what are the Onco 1, 2, and 3?
Well,
What
there.
are
If
they?
you go to the blog at mycampstory.rocks and click protocol at the top, there's a whole explanation of all the items and a way where you can purchase them.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Joe, I wanted to briefly mention this. I fielded a couple of calls from triple negative breast cancer in women that were very positive. So I'm asking you, if you're out there, would you please reach out on Joe's blog
Yeah,
or
please.
Facebook page and let him know about that? Because it was just within the last 2 weeks, Joe, and we hadn't had opportunity to talk. I'd shared briefly with Adam the other day.
With results.
Yes,
Okay,
that's all I can say.
That's good to know. That's very good to know.
So there's a question that keeps coming up over and over and over again. Why do I recommend Panicure and Safeguard from Merck? And why do I not recommend all these other entrepreneurs who, quite frankly, are following my story and trying to profit off of it? I'm going to get in trouble. People get mad at me. It's been a very emotional subject for a lot of people. But I don't recommend those products because I don't know what their quality is. They're all made in Eastern Europe. And we don't know whether the factories they've been made in are CGMP qualified manufacturing facilities. What Adam's plant here for Ultra Botanicals is a GMP facility that ensures perfect cleanliness and product quality. And do I have to travel to Ukraine in the middle of a war and find out whether that stuff's been made in the right facility? I just have a hard time recommending them for that reason.
But we do know the Merck products are made in a GMP facility.
100% yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would just like to add to that, in a previous company of mine, we had 20 different companies knock off the way we looked, the packaging, everything, and it was when the internet was beginning to boom. And so I really side in with Joe that these long-standing pharmaceutical manufacturers, whether you like them or not, that's probably the way to go.
Yep. Rick, did we have a caller? Are we clear? Rick?
Yes, we do. Oh, we have one caller on right now and another one waiting.
All right, let's take a call.
Hello, caller. I think you're on the air.
Thank you. My name is Pam, and I'm calling about my husband. He was diagnosed a year and a half ago. He had throat cancer. They did a complete laryngectomy and everything. So about a month ago, he started getting sick again, and he found out he had a bile duct obstruction. And when they went in to see what was going on, he had cells that was adenocarcinoma at the mouth of the pancreas. And ever since 7 days ago, we did begin the Joe Tippin protocol, that he has stopped eating ever since they done the biopsy. Is there anything that how long do we keep doing this to maybe get some result that would help him feel better?
Do you know why he stopped eating? Is it just he has no appetite, or he doesn't want to eat, or does he get nauseous when he
He
eats?
almost throws up. Yeah, he almost throws up every time he takes a bite of something. He tries, but he just can't. It's like he just can't swallow it.
Boy.
That's rough.
Almost throws up.
Even like liquid stuff?
Well, I'm getting a little bit of like a boost down him. And I know he should be off his sugar, but sometimes he'll drink a Coke or something that seems to help a little bit.
Well,
is there anything that would go
I think
with
that's
this
that's really a non-protocol question. That's a question for your doctor, maybe in terms of putting in artificial feeding or whatever to get him nutrients.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, is there other people who have had this type of cancer had success?
I do believe we have several neck and neck injury, neck cancers, including the larynx. There are some success stories out there.
Yeah.
What about with the pancreas?
The pancreas is a whole different area. We do have some amazing fourth stage pancreatic success stories. In 5 I know about, the protocol didn't kill the cancer, but it kept it at bay and allowed fourth-stage pancreatic patients to live for years instead of months.
Mm.
And in two of those cases,
How do you feel about?
well, in
I'm
two
sorry,
of
go
those
ahead.
cases, after 18 months of consistent use, they became NED, which is unheard of for fourth-stage pancreatic.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great. How do you feel about melanoma? I mean melatonin.
I really don't
Melatonin.
don't have an opinion on it either way regarding cancer.
Okay.
Yeah, there's
okay,
actually a lot
okay.
of interesting evidence about melatonin. We're considering actually adding it as a supplement to our offering. It's not something that, Joe, you necessarily recommend right now. We do know that there's a limit to how melatonin gets absorbed in the body. Even if you take more than 10 milligrams, the body's only able to absorb about 7 milligrams of that of whatever people take into the body. There seems to be a gradient under which melatonin is absorbed. We're looking at some liposomal formulations that would actually increase the rate of absorption. So stay tuned. If you're looking for a good melatonin supplement, we're doing our research to find the right melatonin that could actually have higher absorption for people.
Here's one.
Well, we're doing the 1 pack of Pancure a day with the 3 protocols that you have suggested. Is that enough?
I think I'd stay on that 7 days a week indefinitely. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And I would
Thank
strongly recommend that if you have the opportunity to find an integrative oncologist or a naturopath that can give you some specific medical advice. If your oncologist is not willing to work with you on some of these naturopathic or natural approaches or alternative approaches, try to find a good integrative medicine doctor, naturopath, or health coach that has the licensing and the ability to give you sound medical advice in relationship to all these different things. What part of the country are you in?
Thank you. Alabama.
Cool.
Josh, do we know of any resources in Alabama?
We don't, but if she's willing to leave her phone number with Rick or whoever's taking phone numbers there, I can try to run a trap for her.
Okay. Rick, can you get her phone
Yes,
number?
That'd be great.
Will do. I'll try.
If you can't get your phone, if we drop the call and can't get your phone number, please call back later after the broadcast, and we can see what we can do to help you find some resources.
So I know you have another caller waiting online, but there's one I really want to get to here.
All right, let's do a question here, Rick, and then we'll take. Thank you for calling, by the way.
This one's interesting because it's the exact opposite of others we've got in the same thread.
Yep.
ER positive, PR positive, HER2 negative, stage 4 metastasized cancer, now NED.
Oh my gosh.
Is only taking Finban effective, or should I incorporate the newest protocol? I recommend you do Finban and all 3 pathways on the onco products as a prophylactic now that you're NED, but congratulations, by the way.
That's awesome.
And here's one for Adam. Why did you remove Italy from the list of countries you ship in? I don't know where that's coming from.
Well, it actually is in there, but that's now a moot point. Just to reiterate, if you're joining late, we started the broadcast with an announcement that we now have European distribution open. You can purchase directly in the EU through our distributor Weber Medical. There's a link on our page under the Onco Adjunct products where it will take you directly to their website. You pay in EU currency. They will ship from Germany directly to your European address. So hopefully, all of the problems that we've had of shipping from the United States with import duties is now a question of the past. So.
Okay, let's take the next on air.
Yep. Rick, who do we have?
Okay, caller, you're on the air.
Yes, Joe, thank you, first of all, for helping so many people with their cancer type.
Well, you're welcome.
And I'm wondering if you have run across anybody with a thymoma.
A what?
A thymoma, it's a cancer of the thymus.
I don't. I'd have to go back and look. at the data and all of the positive progresses on the Facebook group. I don't recall one.
I'm dealing with that, and so far chemo has not provided any shrinkage.
How long have you been on the
I was
protocol?
I just started the protocol about 4 weeks ago,
Okay.
and I'm doing 1 gram a day,
7 days a week?
7 days a week.
Yeah,
Yes,
cool.
every
And
day.
are you doing the other 3 pathways from the
Am I doing what?
the other 3 products in the protocol?
Yes, I am.
Okay, great.
The curcumin.
Yeah, are the ones from Onco 1, Onco 2, and Onco 3 the new products, not the old
Yes.
not the old curcumin? Okay, great.
Well, I'm not sure what those are, I guess.
Well, you need to go to the blog, mycancerstory.rocks, and click protocol at the top tab, and it'll be very well explained there. Okay?
Okay. Oh, I see yes, I see that.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next question says, really would like to know if anyone with lymphoma has had luck with Finben, and the answer is yes. Several successes. If you go to the positive progress and search for that, you'll see some reports in from other Facebook users.
And biologically, that's just astonishing to me, by the way, as a scientist and someone that's done research, because lymphoma is so different than other cancers. So it's
Yeah.
really interesting.
Well, and it's same true with all the other bloodborne cancers.
Yeah.
So we know it's getting into the bloodborne cancers. Here's a interesting one: is there a protocol for dogs? And there's a whole section in the Facebook group you're listening to right now dedicated to dogs, and you can go there. What are your thoughts on liquid Panacur that contains parabens to help for treating prostate cancer? I don't think those parabens, everybody makes a big deal out of them, but the level of them is just so tiny it doesn't matter. And I really believe that the liquid forms, you just got to adjust the dosage, because most of the liquid forms of both Panacur and Safeguard are only 100 milligrams per milliliter. And you need to get up 250 to 300 milligrams. So you just have to take more to adjust for that dosage. But gosh, 3 or 4 milliliters is still just like half a teaspoon. It's not very much.
Yeah, a teaspoon's 5 ml. So.
Yeah, right.
All right. Rick, do we have a call?
Yes, we do. Caller, I think you're on the air.
Hi, my name's Nancy. I have metastatic breast cancer.
Hey,
And
Nancy.
it's ER negative, PR negative, HER2/NEU positive breast cancer. It metastasized to my liver, and then I've been on Joe Tippen's protocol since I was diagnosed November of 2019, and then about a year after, I had a clear scan, and then the next one, and my scans are every 3 months. The next one came back that it was a spot between the muscles and the shoulder and in my lymph nodes. And now the last 2 came back clear, and this last one lit up like a Christmas tree. Of course, I had COVID the week before, and she did a biopsy, and the biopsy showed negative.
Yeah, so
we're assuming
that
it-
sounds like it could have been a false positive.
Yeah, well,
Right.
you have an interesting case.
Yeah.
You're on a roller coaster ride of NED, and it comes back, and NED, and it comes back. I'd stay on the protocol, because it sounds like if that was 2019,
Right.
you've done pretty well.
Yeah, according to them, I should be dead. But still, I chemo is Herceptin, and they're calling it a preventative every 3 weeks. Should I stay on that?
That's over my pay grade. I don't
Yeah,
know.
you should continue to do what your doctors are recommending.
Yeah.
You know.
Again, I recommend
They
this.
don't know that
I recommend this protocol concurrently with and parallel to anything and everything your traditional oncologists want to throw at it. I'm going to keep beating that drum.
Yep.
But they're telling me that I'm going to be on this for the rest of my life.
Well, I'm going to take it the rest of my life. And, when 9 out of 10 doctors tell you you're dead, you're supposed to lay down. But you and you and I aren't doing that. Okay.
No. Okay, that was my main question. Of course, I haven't told my doctor that I'm doing this protocol.
Well,
I was
that's
afraid they wouldn't treat.
that's an interesting choice. I chose not to as well. A lot of people do, and I'd say 5 years ago when I started this journey, 90% of the oncologists thought I was just crazy and a wacko. And now more than 50% of the oncologists have woken up and they'll say, go for it. It's not going to hurt you and it might help.
Yeah.
So you think I should tell my oncologist?
That's a choice you can have. I don't know your relationship with him and what are you going to say if he thinks you're crazy and you should stop?
I'm not going to.
Well, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
That
Well,
was, it's. I guess my next CT scan will, hopefully be clear. We thought it was all inflammation caused from COVID. And
that's very
of course,
possible.
when the
It's very possible.
Well, the biopsy came back and it was negative. So she said, I'm assuming that the rest of that, it was in my lungs, it was in my colon. I lit up like a Christmas tree. And she said, well, COVID could have caused the inflammation, but not in your breast. And that's the reason she did the biopsy. But the breast biopsy came back negative.
Well, cool.
Yeah.
Well, Godspeed and stay on it.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
Here's a question for Adam. The best way you found to beat inflammation and fatigue? Thanks. And I think your products should help with that. But
we've studied, as you know, Joe, the whole basis of Ultra Botanica. We started with curcumin. That's Josh, right? And Josh came on board with us back in 2016. So, Josh, what do you think about the question of balancing inflammation in the body?
Well, you do a beautiful job of explaining, Adam, that there's a fight or flight response in the body, but most people don't understand that there's things that can modulate inflammation to healthy inflammation that's regenerative, restorative, renewing. And if you go to doctors out there, many of them, even conventional, will do a test called a high sensitivity C-reactive protein test. This is simply a measurement of a subset of inflammatory markers in the body. It's an inexpensive test, and we have doctors using that all over the world using our products, and they do that test on their patients. Their numbers are elevated. They get them even on our original UltraCare product or UltraCare Professional coming through a credentialed health professional, and see those numbers beginning to come down. And Adam and I have interviewed so many doctors, and they'll tell you that a huge portion, over 90% of what people experience as disease in the Western world and beyond, is tied to unhealthy inflammatory response in the body. So if you can modulate that through this patented technology that Adam and his friends invented, it's a game changer.
And that's exactly right. Inflammation is, out of balance inflammation is a culprit in many of the health conditions that we suffer with. If we can get inflammation into balance, then our fatigue can go down. All sorts of different health benefits come from that. An out of balance inflammation in the body eats up so much energy.
Exactly.
And redirecting it to what we call a healthy inflammation actually helps to rebuild tissues and give us better, more energy and a better outlook on life. Thanks for the question, Joe.
This next one says, I am currently NED as of November 15th of 21. I'm still following the protocol with the Onco 1, 2, and 3. Is there some type of maintenance protocol for those of us who have reached NED status? Thanks for your help. And I think the answer is yes. If it were me and if I just recently became NED, I'd stay on it 7 days a week. If I am been NED for several years, I might consider going back to 3 days a week. I just hit 5 years, and I just went back to 3 days a week.
Yeah, so we are coming out with a Pathway 1 maintenance product. We would recommend, if you're on maintenance, going to 1 capsule once a day of Pathway 1, or Pathway 2, and 1 capsule once a day of Pathway 3. You can do 2 capsules twice a day still. They're both going to give you other benefits, not just prophylactically for cancer, but for inflammation, for all sorts of things that the curcumin, quercetin, and the boswellic acids do that are in pathway 2. It really brings a whole bunch of different health benefits to the body.
This next one says, I started the protocol for early onset breast cancer and a lumpectomy in November. I talked to my oncologist, and she wouldn't even discuss it with me, and then the doctor, MD Anderson, wouldn't even discuss it with me. Well, I will remind everybody out there that traditional medicine and traditional medical science is only taught to trust anything that's gone through a double-blind study clinical trial, and anything that's considered alternative, they're just going to shun away. But I'll also remind everybody that it's your body and your choice and your decision. You don't always have to follow 100% of what they say.
Exactly. You know, it's good there are integrative medicine doctors out there. There are integrative oncologists. There are health coaches and naturopaths that are licensed and trained to give advice in this regard. And most doctors will welcome those kinds of people as part of your health team. Rick, do we have a caller?
Yes, we do. And caller, I think you're on the air.
Yeah, hi. First of all, thank you for your information. I think it's terrific that you're doing this. But I wanted to ask about mixing blood pressure med, with the fenbendazole. If you were taking, if Joe was taking any medication like that at the time that he was doing his protocol.
No, I would say that the only area of concern on contradictions with other drugs is blood thinners. Are you on a blood thinner?
No, not a blood thinner.
No, blood pressure medicine, statin drugs for cholesterol. In fact, Jane McClellan has statin drugs for cholesterol in her protocol. And lowering blood sugar through either berberine or metformin. So the contradictions that we know about are people have to be careful if they're on blood thinners.
And also, on the days that you're on chemo, we don't recommend taking pathway 2 because the curcumin can directly interfere with the toxicity of different chemotherapeutic agents. It can actually help. It can be synergistic, or it can actually inhibit. Those are real questions that your oncologist could answer. So unless you get specific permission from your oncologist that it's okay to take a curcumin supplement with your chemotherapy, we strongly recommend not taking the pathway 2 products on the days.
On that day that you're doing
and
chemo.
Just to clarify, Adam, 24 hours prior to chemo and then 24 hours after is a safe zone.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
That's correct.
Any other question?
I see. I was wondering how much fenbendazole were you taking? Was Joe taking daily? Was that?
I did 222 milligrams a day, 7 days a week.
222.
Which is
it's a gram package.
It's the 1 gram package for 10-pound dogs. Right.
Yeah.
A 1 gram package. I got it. Oh, thanks so much for your information.
Appreciate it. Rick, do we have another caller?
Yes, we do. And caller, yeah, you're on the air. Hello.
Hello. Yes, hello. This is Tamara calling from Switzerland.
Oh.
I'll be over there in 4 days.
You will be.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I read that in your blog. You were on your way to Switzerland when everything happened.
Yeah.
So what's...
Joe, I had a question. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. What's your question?
So I had a question. I'm about to add another protocol. I started Joe's protocol 2 weeks ago, and I just wanted to hear Joe's thoughts on cesium chloride plus DMSO, and if that could have any possible reaction with Joe's protocol.
I have no idea. I'm a little bit leery of DMSO. and there's other people out there that swear by it. So I don't know. I can't imagine that there would be a contradictory fight between my protocol and that.
So you were putting
Right.
something else in the DMSO? Thesium
She
chloride?
mentioned cesium.
Cesium chloride. Oh,
Cesium chloride.
Yeah.
Sorry, I said it wrong. Cesium chloride.
it's interesting. We don't have any opinion about it in terms of our supplements, so it shouldn't interfere. DMSO dissolves the connections between cells, so it allows materials to pass freely through the skin and internally. So it would allow materials that you're taking with the DMSO to pass into all sorts of different tissues. The downside of DMSO is that if those materials can crystallize, they can actually crystallize in tissues and cause other issues. So we would strongly caution in taking any DMSO products, making sure that you're doing so under medical supervision.
Okay, I got
What
it.
kind of cancer do
And
you have?
It's my father. He has bladder cancer.
Okay.
That's what I was just going to ask. If you had much evidence of
Yes,
success with your
I
protocol.
think there's several success stories out there on bladder.
Great. Great. Well, thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome.
You're welcome. Thanks for calling. I think, do we have another caller, Rick? Or we?
Yes, we do. We have a caller on the line right now. Caller, you're on the air.
Hi, my name is Brittany, and I'm actually calling in because my husband has actually been on the protocol since June of last year.
Mhm.
And we saw significant changes right away. He had already, he was diagnosed with lung adenocarcinoma, stage 3. And when they found it, we initially didn't do any biomarker testing. And so they had started with a chemo radiation and then did immunotherapy. Then we later found out he actually has the ALK mutation. And he has the variant 3B. And I was curious, he's kind of hesitant because they're starting him on alectinib as to if he should go off of the protocol while he's on the alectinib, or have you known of people that have continued taking it?
Is alectinib an immunotherapy?
No, it's a chemo-based, specifically targeted therapy for the ALK mutation that he has.
Well,
That sounds like an immunotherapy.
Yeah, well, I don't believe there's a contradiction between staying on the protocol and doing that. I just don't believe it. If you want to ask your doctor about that, feel free. But I recommend throwing everything but the kitchen sink at it, and that is to do the protocol concurrently with and parallel to anything and everything they want to throw at it.
Okay. Awesome. I was hoping to be able to jump on today to ask you, and I appreciate you for taking the time and talking to me today.
You're welcome.
All right. I guess there were some technical questions that we had in here, and I wanted to address the one about kidney and fenbendazole. The prime, we're not researchers from the point of view, and we don't sell fenbendazole. I have no interest in any fenbendazole products. So I can, as a private citizen, I can comment that fenbendazole primarily metastasizes through the liver. It doesn't have much burden on the kidneys. So if people are kidney impaired, they should talk to their doctor, and I would encourage telling them whatever supplements and alternative medicines that you're taking. But from our research and what we understand, fenbendazole does not impact the kidney in any significant way.
Correct.
All right. Rick, did we have any other callers in the queue?
The lines are open.
All right. Well,
And I want to mention something. The lady from Switzerland that mentioned cesium chloride, Adam, you and I have a mutual friend that's a clinical nutritionist. And one of the things that he mentions about people using that is that it definitely affects and reduces blood potassium levels. So it can be a challenge for the heart. So you really need to watch your potassium levels if you're going to be playing around with cesium chloride.
that's good advice.
Cool.
I think we have time for one more caller, Joe, and then we'll call it a day for today.
Okay.
All right. This is the last caller for today. Go for it.
Caller, you're on the phone, on the air.
Hello, Joe.
Hey.
Yes, I was calling just to give you a little testimony as a guy at church that had advanced prostate cancer. I'm sorry, pancreatic cancer. And I told him about your protocol, and he apparently has tried it. He mentioned to me a couple weeks ago that he's been on it for a while, and his doctor doesn't know why his tumor is decreasing. But
Yeah.
he said he hadn't told the doctor he's on it. So,
Well, that is consistent with a lot of other stories where it's not actually killing the fourth stage pancreatic cancer, but it is shrinking it, keeping it at bay. And we got a lot of stories where somebody was told to go home and hire hospice for fourth stage pancreatic, and they got less than 3 months to live, and that was 4 years ago. And they're still kicking.
great. Well, my wife happened to pass away from ovarian cancer almost 3 years ago, and I was wondering if I'm trying to help a group called the Clarity Foundation based in San Diego that deals with ovarian cancer. I wanted to know if you had anything to add, testimony.
Yeah, actually, I would be willing to bet that the ovarian cancer people at Stanford who have kind of become champions here, I bet they know about that foundation.
Yeah.
And so you may have missed the earlier statement that there's ovarian cancer researchers at 3 different universities now doing research on fenbendazole and mebendazole on ovarian cancer because they really believe in that there's going to be efficacy.
Awesome. What universities are those?
Stanford, Washington, and University of Oklahoma.
Okay.
Now, the Stanford lady is kind of an interesting story. The reason she got involved was she had 3 miraculous recoveries that were inexplainable by science. And brought all 3 people in to interview them, and they all said they're on the quote-unquote Joe Tippins protocol. So that got her to get involved.
Okay. Well, very good. That's all I had.
All right. Thank you.
Well, thanks everybody for joining us in this second Q&A session. It's March the 8th, 2022. Josh, any final comments?
Yeah, I would just say for individuals that are experiencing results, good, bad, or indifferent with the Onco, please share those online with other people. We learn from you as well. We get phone calls at different times, and it's very helpful to us. Thank you.
Yeah, we really appreciate everybody's support. And as always, if anybody has any questions about any of the Onco adjunct products, please give us a call at 405-694-4175 or leave a question online and we'll get right back to you. We also have a financial aid available for people that are having a hard time affording any of the products. Please get with us again on our website or give us a call. Joe, any final questions? Or
No,
comments?
I don't think so. Thanks.
And also just one more comment again. We now have our European distribution open. The links are on our website. You can also go to Weber Medical in Germany. Probably easiest to use the link that's on our website. All the sales will be conducted in the European Union, and distribution will happen within days with no import duties. So that's good news all around. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a good day.